According to the Standard, Luka Vuskovic is considering pushing for a move away from Tottenham Hotspur this summer amid growing doubts about his chances of securing regular first-team football. Tottenham Hotspur have intensified their summer transfer plans after opening discussions with Italian club Como over a potential move for Croatian midfielder Martin Baturina, and that's according to a report from Team Talk. And Tottenham Hotspur could lower their valuation of Manus Solomon this summer in an effort to secure the winger's permanent exit, with Fiorentina keen to strike a deal to sign the Israeli international. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. And one final request: if you do get a spare moment, please do nominate and vote for us at the 2026 Football Content Awards. All of the details are below. Your support, as always, is really appreciated. Okay, let's get into it. The Standard claim Luka Vuskovic is reportedly prepared to force his way out of Tottenham Hotspur this summer, as uncertainty over his first-team prospects threatens to bring one of the club's brightest young talents to an early crossroads. The highly rated 19-year-old Croatian defender enjoyed a superb loan spell with Hamburg last season, establishing himself as one of Europe's most exciting defensive prospects and enhancing his reputation ahead of the World Cup. However, despite returning to North London with hopes of earning a place under Roberto De Zerbi, the teenager is increasingly concerned that opportunities will be limited following Tottenham's aggressive recruitment drive. Spurs have already strengthened their back line with the arrivals of Marcos Senesi and Jan-Paul van Hecke, while further defensive additions have left Vuskovic fearing he could spend another campaign on the fringes. The defender is understood to have made it clear that he does not want another loan spell, believing he is ready to establish himself at the highest level after an impressive year in Germany. Brighton and Hove Albion remain the club leading the chase for his signature and have continued to test Tottenham's resolve with a series of increasingly lucrative offers. The latest proposal is believed to be worth around £45 million, although Spurs are thought to value the Croatian significantly higher and have so far rejected every approach. Tottenham's hierarchy remain convinced Vuskovic could develop into one of Europe's elite centre-backs, and they're reluctant to sanction a sale unless an exceptional offer arrives. The attraction of Brighton is clear. The Seagulls have earned a reputation for developing young players before helping them progress to Europe's biggest clubs. Well, head coach Fabian Hürzeler already knows Vuskovic from his time in Germany, of course. That relationship, combined with the promise of regular Premier League football, is believed to have convinced the defender that Brighton represents the ideal next step in his career. The situation leaves Tottenham facing a delicate balancing act. The club are attempting to build a squad capable of challenging immediately after a disappointing campaign, prioritising experience and proven quality over potential. However, allowing one of the continent's most promising young defenders to leave could prove a costly decision if Vuskovic fulfills the enormous promise he has shown over the past two seasons. A final decision is not expected until after the World Cup, with Tottenham hoping the tournament could further increase the defender's value. Whether Spurs can persuade Vuskovic to remain patient or whether Brighton eventually succeed in prizing him away is likely to become one of the summer's most closely watched transfer sagas. Tottenham Hotspur have stepped up their ambitious summer recruitment drive by opening talks with Italian side Como over the signing of Croatian playmaker Martin Baturina, according to Team Talk. The move forms part of Roberto De Zerbi's bold plan to completely reshape Spurs midfield, with Baturina joining Sandro Tonali and Fernandes on the club's list of priority targets in what could become a remarkable £239 million triple swoop. After narrowly avoiding relegation last season, of course, Tottenham's hierarchy are determined to back De Zerbi with significant investment as they attempt to rebuild the squad into one capable of challenging for European places. After additions in defence, attention has now turned firmly towards reinforcing the midfield. The latest name to emerge is Martin Baturina, with respected Italian journalist Matteo Moretto reporting that Tottenham have made contact with Como to inquire about the Croatian international. Baturina only joined the Serie A club earlier this summer, meaning negotiations are expected to be difficult, but Spurs believe his creativity, technical quality and versatility make him an ideal fit for De Zerbi's possession-based system. Team Talk suggests Como would demand a fee of around £69 million before considering a sale. Baturina is not the only major midfield target. Tottenham remain deep in negotiations with West Ham over Portuguese midfielder Fernandes, who has become one of De Zerbi's priority signings. And Spurs are reportedly prepared to match West Ham's £80 million valuation and are also willing to satisfy the player's wage demands in an effort to beat competition from Manchester United and other interested clubs. Recent reports indicate discussions have progressed positively, leaving Tottenham increasingly optimistic of reaching an agreement. Meanwhile, Spurs continue to pursue Newcastle United star Sandro Tonali in what would be one of the biggest transfers of the summer. Reports claim Spurs have already agreed personal terms on a 6-year contract with the Italian international and are edging closer to agreeing a fee with Newcastle. While the Magpies are holding out for more than £100 million after rejecting an opening offer, De Zerbi is believed to have played a crucial role in convincing Tonali that move to North London is the right step in his career. Should Tottenham complete deals for all three midfielders, they combined outlay would rise to approximately £239 million, underlining the scale of the rebuild. Such spending would represent one of the most expensive transfer windows in Spurs history and signal the club's determination to quickly restore themselves as genuine contenders in the Premier League after a hugely disappointing campaign. Whether Tottenham can successfully conclude negotiations for Baturina, Fernandes and Tonali remains to be seen, but De Zerbi's midfield revolution is gathering significant momentum. Tottenham Hotspur are reportedly willing to reduce their asking price for Manor Solomon as they look to facilitate the winger's permanent departure this summer, with Fiorentina eager to bring the Israeli international back to Italy. According to reports from Corriere dello Sport, relayed by Sport Witness, Fiorentina sporting director Fabio Paratici is keen to strengthen his wide options and has identified Solomon as a priority target after the 26-year-old impressed during a productive loan spell in Florence last season. However, the Italian club are currently unable to meet the €10 million purchase option that was initially agreed with Spurs. The report claims Fiorentina would only be in a position to complete the transfer if Spurs agreed to slash their valuation by around half. Encouragingly for the Serie A side, there is a growing belief that Tottenham could be prepared to do exactly that as they continue reshaping their squad under De Zerbi. Solomon appears to have no future in North London after spending the past 3 seasons away from the club on loan. Since joining Tottenham on a free transfer in 2023, the winger has had temporary spells with Leeds United, Villarreal and Fiorentina, making just 6 senior appearances for Spurs and accumulating only 280 minutes of first-team football. Roberto De Zerbi is said to have informed the player that he is not part of his plans moving forward, effectively signalling that a permanent exit is the preferred outcome for both parties. The relationship between Solomon and Spurs has also reportedly deteriorated. The winger previously admitted that he felt hurt by the club's attempts to move him on, believing he had been pushed towards previous loan moves. He was also frustrated when Tottenham prevented him from joining Crystal Palace, leaving him feeling his career progression had been restricted. With 2 years still remaining on Solomon's contract, Tottenham are now weighing up whether accepting a reduced fee represents the most sensible solution, rather than risk the player's value declining further. Where he remains outside De Zerbi's plan, Spurs are thought to be open to negotiating a compromise that would allow Fiorentina to complete a permanent deal. For Fiorentina, securing Solomon's signature would strengthen their attacking options ahead of the new Serie A campaign. For Tottenham, the transfer would help trim the squad, remove a player who is no longer in the manager's plans, and generate funds that could be reinvested elsewhere during what is proving to be another busy summer transfer window. Okay, here's my thoughts on those stories today. Firstly, this report that Vuskovic basically wants out of Spurs. It's a difficult one. I've spoken about this a few times. Vuskovic, in my opinion, is going to be an absolute colossus if he's not already. Look, obviously so young, so much to learn in that position, the centre-back role. But, I think we've got a real future star in the making on our hands here. And it would just irk a bit, wouldn't it, if we was to let him go and he developed into an absolute colossus, as I say, which I think he will do. But what is the right price for Vuskovic? Spurs, you'd think 50 million, you've heard bandied around. Do you let Vuskovic go for 50 million if Brighton came back in with that amount? It is a difficult one, but for me, it shouldn't be. I think Vuskovic is probably ready for regular first team minutes with Spurs in the centre-back role, but we've got so many centre-backs at the moment. You'd think Romero and Dragushin are going to be on the way out anyway. But is there place for Vuskovic? Is there a space for Vuskovic? So, look, De Zerbi's obviously looked at him and feels that he doesn't need him, basically. He's quite clearly going with experience at the moment. But, as part of that, are we going to be losing out on an absolute future star? We've all said for years that we want experienced players for Spurs to go with ready now Premier League players, and that's kind of what they're doing, but not at the expense of youth, because what message does that send to younger players, not just Vuskovic, the players coming through, that there's no real pathway for them. So bottom line, if we get rid of Vuskovic, if we sell him on, that would be tinged with sadness for me. And I'll be a bit gutted about it, because I think he's to never have even played for Spurs other than in a friendly. That would be terrible. When we signed him, what was he, 16? When we actually signed him, a few loans for the lad as well. Obviously with the thoughts of playing in the Premier League for Spurs, and it might not come to pass. So, I'd be very sad on that. But get down in the comments, let me know. What's your thoughts on Vuskovic? Baturina links. I must admit, I don't know tons about this player, but he's a decent playmaker. Obviously, played with Nico Paz in Italy as well. So, kind of two playmakers there. And you would think he's like second choice, because obviously we were linked with Paz before, weren't we? But it seems to me that Spurs are kind of moving forward in the team. Sorted the goalkeeper position out, got the defence sorted, and now looking at the midfield. So, with the Tonali and Fernandes links, and now Baturina as well. Do we need another 10? Another number 10? That's what I would suggest. We've got Madison, Kulusevski, Javi. Do we need another one? Would there be position and place in the team and in the squad for this Baturina? I'd question that. I'd prefer we put it towards wingers. I think we're heavily stacked in the midfield, but perhaps only if we get Tonali and Fernandes in. But it would really signal huge intent by Spurs if they get all three deals done. I just hope they've got enough money left to get in the likes of Savinho or another winger, or certainly a centre forward. We desperately, in my opinion, still need a centre forward, a number 9. And I've not really seen many links with one. So perhaps that's something they're going to be looking at later in the window. Who knows? But there's certainly a revolution going on at Spurs. But I come back to it. We've got to get the players in first, and I won't believe it until they're holding up the shirt. And part of that plan, of course, is the final story, the situation with Manor Solomon. Obviously, never going to really play for Tottenham again, is he? He never really did. Had a few loans. Again, the player upset. He wants to leave, and Spurs value him at a certain amount. And to get him out of the club, they're going to have to lower that valuation. I think this will happen. I think that's what Spurs will do. we've lost a fair bit of money on having to do that over the last few years, haven't we? You know, poor recruitment with Tanguy and Ndombele, Lo Celso, Brian Kiel, Solomon, Bissouma even. We've lost a lot of money on players, so Solomon will probably just be another one in that mould. But I think it's important we move Solomon on. I don't think there's a future. It's quite clear there's not a future for Solomon at Spurs. So if we want to progress, we're going to have to take a hit on him. But it's a shame because Solomon did have a couple of really good games for Spurs, but injuries came to pass and we never really saw his full potential. But I do think there's better players out there than Man of Solomon that can fill in on either wing. But that's all from me today. Get down in the comments, let me know your thoughts on Tottenham's situation and how you feel right now as a Tottenham Hotspur fan. And as always, come on you Spurs.